with our lovely new moon and this Lionsgate portal come some Ascension energies, the 5D, and that's for our 5D collective though. And what I mean by that is any person who's embracing their solo self with the herd of ours, okay? So you have relationships, you're building the essence of love in life, and your relationships are all about true love. We have had a bazillion, no, we've had a number of episodes from your very own divine feminine here with my own divine masculine, and as well as what is it called? Enlightenment, soul age group is called. So the ones of us who come to enlightenment with the choice of love, the path of love, we do not know this loss or pain in the way that those who know loss or pain, once they get over to bliss and once they get over to wisdom, they'll know our path of love, and we will know how to say, wow, so my hugs were really helpful, huh? Because pain and loss are meant to be met with bliss and love and wisdom. And so when you have a Zen master who tells you about laundry, you know that that Zen master is still in the pain and loss. And they, in fact, don't know that emotions, we don't control our emotions. We embody our emotional plane. The ones of us who have the capacity, you all do if you want to have an integrated brain, your embodied brain is seeking to return home to its origins. The homeostasis you is embodying actively unconditional love. So any 4D who tells you you're not here to embody unconditional love, it's an Elsa journey. They got a mantle. So 5D collective, we say, oh, look, stuff's come up. It's not only DNA upgrades or me cutting people out or dark night of soul or shadow death and all that other stuff. Okay, so 5D collective, welcome aboard. You got a 5D mystic here, a divine feminine who's going to spell it out to you. We don't hold people by the neck and say, you have to stay here, masculine. That does not happen. No, no, no. So, welcome. When you know yourself, you will know what love is. When you know what love is, you will know what relationships are. When you know what a relationship is, it's called healthy self-worth. People do not hold each other by a string and say you have to stay, good boy, good girl, good day, I need to leave you, now stay. That sounds like people who in fact don't know how to work with their brain, which is why they have trouble with the addictions. And I'm going to do it this way because some of us, we don't have addictions. We have an embodied brain and we have introception. It means I know what goes on here because I'm self-aware, accountable, and regulating. It's Maria. There's the name. Hello, anyone? Anyone know how to use your brain, your physical brain with your mind? Because I do. Okay, great. So divine feminine, we don't lose our brains. We actively grow more flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, and stable because we meet masculines and they are all Cuscos. Cuscos for Pacha is a joke. And I'm not kidding right now. As a teenager, they're all jokes. They all, God, don't know how to tell me the truth in my face. I'm a 4'9" woman. I wasn't even a woman yet. I'm a girl, and I don't mean any harm. Apparently, they don't know how to tell me truth to my face. Okay, so with this lovely 8-8 portal, yeah, you better bet every year there's a beautiful line that roars over here. So, divine feminines, we don't shout in a screen. I've seen them, the 4D. They think they're feminines because they begin to go chaotic, which is basically structural dissociation. It is not pretty to see a human being starting to yell in a screen or crying completely broken down where they should be, boy, girl, with a person that loves them, not on a screen where, I mean, I can hug you from afar, and I get it. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying channelers are not meant to be channeling like that. That I don't know where they got the idea. Oh, wait, they watch movies. That's right. So with that, let me get to our messages, shall I? New moon, Lionsgate. It's a roar. You know what a lion, an actual lion? Anyone watch Simba? Lion King. Yes, let's not talk about when the dad dies. Please, it's still, I can't even bear to remember that scene. I'm happy that they are choosing to work with all of these things because there's no need for some of those aspects that people consistently want all people to be a part of. You know what? If you want to be in loss and pain and suffering with your own body, you go do that. Leave some of us out of it. And so we get to find a middle ground, right? Okay, like with the warning, right? A warning, this. Good. And then the adults get to supervise and say, nope, 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 no, 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 and no until I say so. And that's why I do not have kids, don't want them. And there you go. So, okay, a little bit of jokes here and there. When you do know how to love yourself and you do know how to love your herd and you do know why variety is key to us knowing all that life can be, you understand why we don't all have the same stories. I'm not kidding right now. So here, this divine feminine knows balance thanks to another divine feminine, and the name is Mother in my case, and others might have someone different. I also have Jesus and God to thank. Okay, and with that, we can say mystics are not welcome by all, but we know that mysticism and spirituality, one and the same. The ones who don't like this, they're the left brainers. We don't have to play with people who don't use their right brain because they don't have a good therapist. So essentially, again, Pachas, when we see Cuscos, they don't change our life. Unkindness and evil doesn't make us bitter, unkind, and say life turned its face against me. Basically, I don't say God didn't support me. Anyone not know about that inconsistency? So I learned to notice and spot people all around the world whenever they're saying humans are shitty and evil's won, or people have turned their back on God, but then they're fear-mongering people and they're dividing them. So it's like, okay, you know what? I learned about God in a different way. I guess my catechism, Catholic people were not whatever you are, but they didn't teach me any of this because I know when I make a promise, it's because I want to make it. Otherwise, I don't, because I've been told about how you don't want to make promises that you can't keep or don't want to keep. I learned that as a kid. That's why as a 4 or 5-year-old, I did something, which we won't get to. Let me get back to our channel guidance messages. Okay, so you will be generous of spirit like Simba's father if you are a divine feminine, and you will know how we don't restrict, limit anyone. No, we like to be in between worlds because I live my emotional plane and my mental plane. They're not irrefutable facts. They're called sweet results because the neuroplasticity agent is called imagination. My words are mine. My emotions are mine, and those are basic emotions for every human being body. And the divine feminine has no laundry because our divine masculine is our friend. So when we know how to be hanged, it's because the upside down hangman rebirth is assured. We know we're expanding. That's a Fibonacci brain. It's called integration of the brain capacity because you say, oh, look, I have emotions. I'm a human. Oh, look, I have thoughts. I'm a human again. Oh, look, now I have clairs. I'm still a human. Oh, look, this body and this, what was it, Sadhguru? The life within you is not here to serve your body, mind, or emotion. The body, mind, emotion are here to serve life. Yes, Sadhguru, thank you so much for being around. For the people who will know how to be here, I learned from Jesus how to use my body, emotions, and my mind. Yes, and God. I didn't sever my cord. Nope. I know all about how to let go like a grown-up and to continue loving, which is why we don't separate. We don't have stages with our twin flame or flames or soulmates. We don't do this whole, oh my gosh, dark night of soul, ego death, I died 1,000,000 times over. You know how boring it gets when you hear 4D continuing every ascension energy to say the same thing? So right now, there are those who are going through shit. They're not at 5D right now. They're at 4D. I've seen the readers. I heard all of their messages. Yeah, some of them, they're getting really fascinating by the minute. Okay, so not here. Here, 5D collective, this is what we know. We want to hug it out. You're never alone. You're never alone because you have safe haven, secure base. Your 1-year-old has you. Use your human name. Now, that doesn't make every person happy. Do you want to be the person you can be? Do you want to be a restorative embodiment, self-aware? You're not going to get any special gifts or rewards or stars for it. No, you can choose laundry, the Zen master, or resiliency because you're learning how to tune to your nervous system and then tend to your child parts and not have them be charged. You don't need to be yelling at a screen and telling someone that God and you are friends and you're doing God's justice. I've seen it. It's really, Really interesting, and actually also quite, I wish that they would go to good therapy, because structural dissociation on screen is not fun to watch, nor is it when somebody's completely ruminating with tears in their eyes, and or again, when it's helpful, you will notice because they're actively getting emotional while sharing a message, and they actively maintain linearity versus I don't have anybody around me to share with, and I'm going to share with my community, which I get. That's why they have a community. And you know what I noticed? You know what Peter Pans have, right? Yes, lost boys, lost girls, lost days, right? So they have a Wendy somewhere. Let's just pretend that Wendy is the social media platform that allows for those who are Peter Pans to have lost boys, lost girls, and then for them all to hug it out. And then we get to watch from afar because we're like, okay, there's Elsa Journey. They didn't know that the 3-year-old really wanted them to say, wow, let me look at my home for a minute. Do I have that abandonment, rejection wound? Do I have shame? Do I have humiliation? Do I by any chance have this revenge thing? What about my angry circuit? Do I have my brain intact yet? Okay, so it's important. Mental hygiene and mental welfare. Yes, you all can know all about it. I see a bunch of people saying, I want to do journaling, mindfulness. I want to do self-help. I want to do anything. I want to be the spiritual one who loses people. Because see, I lose people when I'm ascending in my energy body. I went through my Kundalini awakening, and look at me. Look at how beautiful. Oh, you know what? I realized I was a spiritual bypasser when I was doing yoga. Now I'm better because I've reverted back to. So whenever you see mantles, they like to switch it up. They don't know of Patrick McNamara and neuroscientists. And they also don't know how to be with, what is it called? Oh, yes, healthy self-worth and integrity. So when you see a teenager, you can spot them like a hawk because it's like, wow, that's an ego, that's an ego, that's another one. Oh, look, there's another one. Oh, they know everything. That's why they're a teenager again. I knew everything too when I was a teenager. I learned never to say never. So transcending illusion. Anyone know about how thoughts and emotions are not irrefutable facts? And your 14-month-old, when they like or don't like something, yeah, you. Yes, I learned at 8 that my thoughts and emotions were not irrefutable facts when I got disowned because I actively felt it's an explicit memory, is what it's called. I was like, I'm disowned, and I'm not even doing it right because it's literally just a feeling. But then I remember I got explained it's not possible physically. You can't be disowned. There's a birth certificate. It's an illusion. So I was like, okay, got it, Mom, thanks. And my twin sister and I have been since then cool, although sometimes she thinks that there's a break. I say, no, there's no break. I just, have things to do. And she gets it. That's why we turn knowledge into wisdom. All motions, sensations, images, affects, your own stuff comes up and you're like, yay, I got to welcome it, which is why on the Ascension energy, it's more love, not less love, more love. So again, 4D, they lose people, so they just do the merry-go-round. The wheels on the bus go round and round. They do karma. 5D, we don't do karma. And in fact, we look back and say, wow, I learned a lot of shit. Wow, my twin flame and flames, they're awesome. So are my soulmates. Look at me. I learned from the past. And like Sadhguru shares, we in fact carry our past because we are not hurt by it, Ron Siegel. But I do understand who you're talking to. So people who use their prefrontal cortex, you know how we use the past? We know when it's coming up. So whenever I have had my past come up, I've known. And I have always been like, okay, I know what you're here for. So in one instance, I was very much aware and I kept it for myself and I processed it. In another instance, I was very happy that I was able to contain it and then in my own timing, process it. I would have liked to be able and shared it with the very individual that the past, because see, that's where when we know where our emotions, thoughts, and everything comes from, we like to share it. That's what functional adults do. That's what lovers, true lovers, yes, we tell things to each other in our faces. So in this one moment, I was like, God, I'm so happy that I was able to contain this because this has nothing to do with the person who's in front of me, although what they shared with me definitely brought it all up. And it was like, whoa, I was like, whoa, let me recalibrate. Wait a minute. So we were having a little debate, my friend and I, but we got over that one. And in fact, it was really nice. So we are gratitude and we're grateful for each other. So we give with gratitude and grace. That means we thank. So in my case, what I'm talking about is when I'm around biologically rude people. Yeah, but that's not their fault. See, safety behavior isn't a choice. So when you have somebody yelling in your face, they're being reactive. It's called they have unresolved trauma. It's unfortunate because they can get supported, but they need to want to get, So in my case, I was a very great sport. Thank you to my restorative embodiment, self-aware Maria, accountable and regulating. A divine feminine will not be yelling in the face of anyone like those people say, I'm in my shadow side, and they actively will spit venom from their mouth. They go up to their twin flames and yell at them. They go up to people and yell at them. Believe me, I'm like, thank goodness I was kept far, far, far away from a couple of people in certain moments. I was like, this is a good thing. So when you claim your independence, you're actively, as a divine feminine, happy. Very happy. Again and again and again, you become an independent lover, and again and again and again, you get uncharged. So this lovely portal, it's doing wonders because it brings a gentle touch to every one of you who is in love with divine feminines and divine masculines and all of humanity. If you're here and you do not unconsciously love all 8 billion people, this channeled guidance message is not for you. And I'm not kidding right now. If you do not unconsciously love all 8 billion and growing people, I thank you for stopping by. This channeled guidance message is not for you. You can go and continue doing laundry somewhere once you're ready to have compassion and understand. Somatic empaths are people who know no 1-year-old chose to have unresolved trauma. No 3-year-old. Now, I don't appreciate the 7 to 14 charming. But I know why Peter Pans are there. They are for people who do not unconsciously love all humanity. All 8 billion and growing people are special at IHP. And I will be repeating this until I have your very specific attention of what I'm stating. And don't lie to yourself. You don't have to be here. The messages are for people who consistently know humanity is what we are. Nobody chooses their trauma. And yes, we got a shit show going on. That's exactly why my point is it's only together that we move forward. And I am here for self-help, personal development, spiritual journey for those who are serious, not for those who just want to wear some mantle. So being gentle is actively what you will be inclined consistently to be if you are a true nurturer, not yelling in some screen at some human being who did not choose how they began their life. And whenever I see people who are yelling at a screen, I know my spot. Krishna Leela, come on in. I get to be playful, curious, open, accepting, and loving. That is what we get to do when we have the capacity to be, as lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel presents, a present brain. So, no trauma charges. I look in your eyes, you're beautiful, and I get to play. And if I need a timeout, I'll go and get a timeout so that I can go solo for a minute. And my solo police secure community, come on over. It's really fun to have compersion. So we get to love more, not less. And that's the miracles, is that love is endless and it's infinite. And it really is beautiful. Like this lovely cow. So we know how to set healthy boundaries, which is why we recalibrate our relationships. We do not have saga. We do not have drama because we own our brain and our mind and our self. And the people who don't, well, they have people who coach them through a lot of things. That's not here. Here the coaching is let's become more amazing by the minute, because the magic is you. Your contribution, my contribution, our entire humanity contribution here at IHP is that we are welcoming to all human beings, not just some. So you are ready to be a person who wants to enjoy your restorative embodiment, self-aware life, accountable and regulating. It's being yourself. When people ask me, why would I need you? Technically you don't, but actively you do. You know why? Because I hear there's a Zen master somewhere telling you all about laundry and 4D readers who tell you about torture chamber shit all the time, and it gets boring pretty fast for a person who knows what life is all about. I have relationships. I have human beings. I have life. I got 2 hands. I got 2 feet. What the hell are you talking about? DNA upgrade. There's no upgrades. You're not a machine. Are you done with the DNA upgrades? Also journey people. Okay, so when ascension energies come up, what unresolved shit comes up, you know what it is? It's called you. Now, if you have stayed here, I have news for you. It's not hard to do emotions if you know how to do thoughts. The inner growth mindset. It's not hard for me to spot a mantle, which is why I did the whole bit. If If you don't unconsciously love humanity and you still believe in evil and unkindness in some way that is ridiculously ridiculous, you have plenty of other people to go to. IHP will not be for you, nor will any of what I get to offer or support you with. Because the active news is you don't need me. You need a good therapist, and after that, I don't want to do personal development, and that's what I get to see. Oh, or let's make it fancy. Who wants to be the executive who can do emotional intelligence and all that? So anytime I'm noticing some good information piece, I'm like, wow, they made it look really good. I'm going to make it look really easy. And that's because why not? Love, it's the most beautiful gift. But you cannot be romantic if you're a flake. You know, fizzle. So on that note, I'm actually going to share with you something. When a person has the capacity to be their own divine feminine, the way that I'm presenting to you, and my own divine masculine, yeah. So what is love? Well, I tell you this. Love is, where are you? Where's my cards? I don't know where my cards are, but I'll just use this one. It's like a chameleon. It has a bazillion beautiful faces. It doesn't leave. What are you talking about? I got 24 hours. You think I'm going to leave love? So whenever we get the opportunity, that's what I'm looking for. Here we are, because I love my little grasshopper. Whenever we get the opportunity to take a leap of faith, you think a lover's going to say no? No, a lover's going to say yes. And then we're hoping that it's the real deal. Because if they don't have emotional availability, well, it ain't going to be a real deal. So they're going to end up turning into no. We love our snakes. So no, actively, once your attachment trauma informed, you're like, okay, now I know what to look out for. And actively, I don't need any of that, by the way. As a teenager, I already knew what to look out for. Because when you believe in yourself like this squirrel, you know what to look out for. It's called, you're going to lift me up higher and higher and make me look good. And you're going to say, you look good. And when somebody says, she's awesome, you're going to say, hey, no. I'm going to look from far away and make sure you say, no, that's not true. Actually, we get to have fun together. Because see, believing in yourself with an actual divine feminine, an actual divine masculine, we get to go have fun with Pachas. And then we spot Cuscos. I'm just saying, we spot Waldos. It's like, hey, did you spot that one over there? Because I'm looking above the fray and I spotted a couple of them. There's a Peter Pan, right? That's chit chat. And that's how we have fun. Okay. So I'm just saying, the smart people, we have fun because in the meantime, we're doing spiritual self-help, personal development. Get ready for our spiritual retreat. So write me if you're interested in one-to-one mentorship. In the masterclass, it's going to be a closed number, and the spiritual retreat, it will be in Ischia, the first one. We might have more than one, but it's only if you want to be yourself authentically. It means you want to do emotions, and it means you want to have all your child parts you do know about yourself at the very bare minimum. We want to make sure, but I am attachment trauma informed, so I would be able to say, okay, what I spotted just this minute is called dissociation, and it's clinical, and I'm going to give you a number and more, and that's how it works. I don't lie to people, and I can spot when somebody's offline. It's a very specific way that you feel. And that's because my body, like anybody who is a functional adult and a divine feminine with her own divine masculine, so it's a somatic empath is the word. You don't have any trauma charges lingering. You don't have low self-esteem at all, not even a little bit of it, okay? So you get to look at people in the eye with this prefrontal cortex, which is why you're present. So I'm a guitar string. When I'm around you, I'm going to be present, me, Maria, your host and mentor and da-da-da-da. So as a person, that means that I am a clear channel and I don't have insecurity. So you can poke at me. You're not poking at an actual bear. You're poking at no one, because I get curious, open and accepting and loving, because I've met plenty of Cuscos in my 44 years of life. And it was since I was an adolescent that I met all of them. So when I met more of them, I wasn't actively like, oh my God, I met something that I never met before. No. In fact, I got reminded of what I had forgotten, because when you do become a divine feminine with your clairs, you know that everyone's your brother and sister. So you actively think that every person is going to know that they're part of you and you're part of them, and you find out, nope. Oh shit, that's right, I forgot about the self. And then you're reminded, that's all. Okay, so rest and rejuvenate is because I'm safe to be Maria around you. And so I'll be a guitar string, that means present. I'll be attuning to you. I'll be attuning to you in your nervous system, and I'm one. But mine navigates my social engagement system because, again, even if you're yelling in my face, as it has happened, I'm not going to be reactive. And I'm not controlling myself. I'm actively recalibrating, and that's called how you work with your own embodied brain. And I have had practice because of my panic attacks, so I know how to stand and sit in the uncomfortable as I actively try to continue engaging with people in an effort to be a grown-up, right? Because that's when people will not really be very easygoing if you're freaking out. So it's more of how do I maintain my composure. Anyways, the power of community. And so for me, I'm present, I'm curious, open, accepting, loving. That's Krishna Lila in the door with Shiva and Kali, the back and the behind. She's good. As I attune to your nervous system, I'm going to notice if you're offline. And if we are doing the spiritual retreat or the one-to-one mentorship and the masterclass, I'm going to inform you. Your nervous system and you right now, I can tell you're in this dorsal vagal thing. How do you feel? Let's take a note. Let's take a minute. And then again, like I said, giving you a phone number or an email or something, because your mental health and hygiene are of the most importance to anyone who wants to say we help people. And that's with the spiritual self-help, consulting, life coaching, a person who does any of those professions to support you for your inner and outer well-being. They're channelers. They will not take and put good mental health to the side. They will actively inform you. That doesn't mean you like it or don't. We're not here to be liked or disliked. The person who wants to help another person with their inner and outer well-being. You see, I don't have a cape on. I'm not a superhero. I'm a human being. I'm a professional. I'm offering you support for payment, to say the least. Not now. My point is, you're not a number. You're a human who I say I want to help. Do you understand? Okay, good. So the people who like to make it seem like there's shortcuts or they look for it, they're looking to do a sales pitch, it's called. I don't do sales pitches. It don't need to be fancy. It's called, do you want to be yourself in a healthy way, or do you want to bullshit yourself? You want to bullshit yourself, you can go to plenty of people who are going to bullshit you. It's not here. But I do have the capacity to say, once you're over the hump, now that is really fun. And if you have clairs, it's really nice to be grounded in your humanity because you don't get destabilized when you're channeling, not even a little bit. You also don't have the fates written for everyone. By the way, that's we're just going to put that to the side. But meantime, you have your own fate that you get to work and walk with because you end up having the Dharma word for real. Karma, we all do karma, but that's a whole different story, and it's in a way of the actions. But you're able to process thoughts, emotions, and you walk your own walk because you're not the 0-1 8-year-old. You're not your unconscious, okay? So you are your consciously grown human being. Your chit chatter doesn't have a story for you because you're processing emotions. So your past, you carry it. It's not weighing you down. You actively know how your emotional plane and mental plane work. And really, once you are a wholeness, you don't have anything that you don't know how to talk about. And so again, with this lovely portal and this new moon, for those of you who are welcoming yourselves, you have open-ended conversations, you have appreciation, you are building relationships that are deep. Some people have closed relationships that were not matching where they were heading, and those who are of the 5D collective have been able to do so with that unconditional love, with the capacity to say, thank you so much for all that you have shared with me. I want and hope, and they have recalibrated and transformed the relationships. Because romance doesn't mean that because we're now no longer romantic, we cannot stay friends. In this lovely year of 2024 moving forward, 5D collective knows true love is we're a herd of people. Some are monoamory, some are polyamory. We're not judgmental. We're people who understand how to use our prefrontal cortex. Okay, and so again, spiritual self-help, it works for people who are supporting their self on a true spirituality and inner growth journey. Yourself, so you have the self of you, You have love and you have relationships, and you're a pacha. That's how you heal one trauma. If you had any trauma of your own, it's healed, and you have now emotions, and they're not traumatic for them to come up. You own your 1-year-old. If you're still working for owning the 1-year-old, you're going to keep working on it thanks to those one-to-one relationships with healthy self-worth women, men, and days who will actively know how to engage in what is healthy boundaries. So there's no blocking, unfriending, there's no name calling. And that is where, for you who's tuning in here, so if somebody is yelling in your face and they're biologically in the rudeness, you're not going to lecture a person who actively needs a therapist. You're going to be yourself, and you're going to handle yourself with the flaws, but the integrity that you have consistently or chosen to regain if you had lost it. Because again, you can lose that something sacred, which is your 1-year-old, the secure attachment. Okay, so you have secure attachment, either earned or not lost, differentiated self. You used your present brain, and you're learning more and more how to have the mastery of your physical plane. And that's for my 5D collective. So your thoughts and your emotions, not irrefutable facts. You don't want to be yelling in a screen at someone or yelling at anyone in their face. You're actively pursuing becoming more of the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person you can be. That's the integration of the brain, and that's why you access the Fibonacci brain and you don't do what Cusco's do. Okay, so yeah, the beauty of relationships as we get to see all that is a somatic empath or all that is a mystic, and that is where, again, divine feminine here, it is about the capacity to, one, be aware the people who navigate towards you as an authentic self, it will only be those who welcome themselves that you will then expand with. The ones who are drawn to you but they're not expanding, it will be something of a Pacha Cusco relationship, and one that they actively, let me put it this way, they don't live together to where Cusco becomes a Pacha. Okay, so we have secure connections, and then you have those who become secure attachment relationships. And for 5D, if we are talking romance, you will only be able to frequent consistently and intellectually and emotionally functional adult desiring, at the very least, human beings. So that means they have welcomed who they are and they're authentically presenting themselves. They also are being playful, so they are enriched by the experience of you intellectually and emotionally. This happens organically. There's nothing you have to do when relationships, romantically speaking, are harmonizing. Okay, so there's only interruption of something once and or if two people and or more are not consistently fueling that beautiful passion, that fire. And on that note, for those of you who do have the fire, you're going to be meeting more fire because our lovely portal, well, it is what it is. The lion, I'm just going to say it. It's a beautiful roar. So when you know, again, true love, when you know true passion, oh, it doesn't die. And it's not a Cusco attitude. Nope, not even close. In fact, a Cusco attitude, they go to Terry Real so that they can then maybe at some point one or another be Pachas. Pacha as well. Let me think. How do I explain a Pacha to you? So divine feminine and a divine masculine. But remember, please, my lovely viewers, I'm a mystic. Okay, so I come from a plane of true spirituality, and I never got disrupted in my connection with this lovely sphere. And what I can tell you is that a divine masculine, once they have their divine feminine, and therefore they are tapped into the double layer of what it is to be a person that embraces all that is, with the eyes, with the heart, and with the gut, not the visceral. Yeah, there's no words to explain what the essence of love in life. Tune into that episode because it's form and formlessness, and it's magical. It's what words will not ever be able to describe. It's actively just something that has, let me think. Okay. If there's something that takes your breath away, not the fucking with the, no. Okay. For example, those moments, anyone ever have moments where you're looking at a sun? I love sunsets, so I'm going to use sunsets with a beach. And you're at the beach. You're enjoying, it's that perfect temperature. For me, it's not cold. Okay, so you're enjoying, even if it's a fraction of a second of this awe. But it's more than just that, because remember that we are in form thanks to being embodied in a body. Okay, so consciousness gets to experience itself because it is in form. And so divine feminine knows exactly what her and a divine masculine, the fusion that the two will create. It is not something that we will not recognize when we have it. And I know that there's one person who tries to describe it in a certain way, but I'm going to say he doesn't come even close to what it actually is, because he reduces it to a concept in an effort to do what he's doing. I want to share it to you as something that you will experience also all by yourself, because it is in that oneness. And that is the oneness, though, that a divine feminine can tell you. 5D mystics know that the joy is to share in form the essence of that which a mortal being is supposedly not able to conceptualize, which isn't true anymore. At this point in our human journey, any person who wants can be in a state of flow in the way that I'm sharing it with you. And what I'm trying to say is, it is not alone, it is with a counterpart, because that human being body, yes, it holds that life. And it holds more than just that life. It holds experiences. It holds richness. It holds every step that that person will have walked. In fact, let me share with you an added message. I know I read this one to you before, but if you're new, you haven't heard it. And that's because it came to mind. Candlelight illuminates damage beneath the feet with wave of lights that come from the heart of the sky, the love force that made all creation possible. It does not know good or bad. You give it the clear intention that will guide the formlessness to form and manifest the invisible to the world of matter through the cycles of life and day to day, and the evolving self, oneness with flow and the relationships you create, heart, mind, all of you, and grow. And I will read a little bit more. Candlelight illuminates damage beneath the feet with wave of lights that come from the unification, interconnectedness, and sense of continuum with humanity, nature, the cosmos, Akash, spirit, source, God, dark matter, dark energy, all intrinsically connected. Through circumstances in the night that marry laughing and handsome and mirror an invasion of the reflection of trust in humanity, human evolution, and the expansion of consciousness, love, life, the essence of all that lives in form and comes from the formlessness of the heart of the sky. And so, a divine masculine and divine feminine, when they come together, it is people. In the absence of the two, well, it's a different story is what I'm trying to get to. And that is what is amazing about the Lionsgate portal. And there are other moments that we have had similar energies, but as I close us out with our lovely new moon and with these 5D Ascension energies, again, for the people who are embodying their self and they are embodying love at this point in their journey, and therefore you're embodying all relationships, the relationships are with all people. And with the one that is yours and you are theirs, in the sense of you create this fusion, there will not be ever any doubt of who, if it is a who, and there will be a who. And no, not everyone has this specific experience, but when you're seeing those numbers, the 144,000 or whatever, please allow yourself to remember that that is not accurate, if you will, because the number is there for a lot of other things, and we all are creating our groups, if you will, coming together to share how to expand. What I'm trying to say is the experience is subjective. So you learn and you hear, and then you can apply to yourself to talk about it as there's a specific number of human beings who will experience this. That's egoic. It's saying we're an in group and that's an out group. And I'm saying every human being on the face of this planet can experience what I just shared with you if they return home to their true self, if they lost that something sacred that first year of life. And although it does make me sad to be aware that we have people who have dysregulated and modulated embodied selves, and that we have a lot more room and space to grow as a whole community, I'm going to leave that for some other time. But let us, in the meantime, know that together we can create more safe haven, secure base, secure attachment, functional adult relationships, and that heals trauma one person at a time. And that's creating healthy self-worth relationships, standing and walking and talking like Jesus taught me and God taught me, and then my lovely attachment and trauma information therapist people taught me that you can do this. Doesn't need to look fancy prancy. For my mystics, nobody is more special with clairs. That's not how it works for a active divine feminine. It is an embodiment because it's part of our human makeup, and we're not a machine and we don't control our emotions. Yeah, all of the way that they talk about this emotional stuff, you can tell that they're uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, and that's the number one. They don't move into the richness. So when you learn neuroscience lingo about what happens in our brain when it's in a flow state, and I know all about it when I'm channeling, it's called selflessness, timelessness, and the effortlessness is when we get afraid, because the way that there's a guy, it's an interview, a neuroscientist, and when he's describing that, I'm like, okay, that's where I have been every time I have a panic attack or whatever the hell has to take place as my energy body expands. And if there's trauma charges there, leaving, and then you move to richness. And so that effortlessness is the very clear for those who are divine feminines, because we're not destabilized, as I said, though. 4D, they do get destabilized. They do pseudo aliveness. I've seen it. And the reality is they are not aware of themselves because they're either mantles of spirituality, and so spiritual bypassers, mantles of mental health, so they're not healed. And there are some therapists who really need to continue their own therapy. Then we have, again, 7 of 14 charming, and that's just a bunch of people. But like I also was saying, there's a reality, which is when we meet dysregulated, modulated, embodied individuals, the challenge of what comes up, the trauma charges, it's gut wrench, torn apart. It's a very painful. I have had a sliver of it, and so I actively have the awareness of you need the person to be self-aware, accountable, and then desiring regulation, and they need to be that based on I want to create a relationship with more of my herd. And that is the other part of why, again, we have different types of voices out there in stories. Here, we're here to bring each other together, be compassionate, be people that know a feminine does not, need to limit by shaming, blaming, faulting, or revenging, or by creating a type of let me whip you. That's not how it works. Nurturing works with the active divine feminine, divine masculine. It's called softness. In fact, when you study actively our species, it is through softness and equanimity that true wisdom is brought, both from the masculine as well as the feminine, and that is when they are actually the representation of those energetic and or whatever you want to call them. So when you meet imbalanced masculines or feminines, if you are a true spirituality human being, you will know, because they will be talking to you like a Cusco. And the feminines, the only difference is they think they know everything. Don't get me started, because that is the moment where I know you are deviated and you are distorted and you are a low self-esteem, codependent human being who is in a blamer attitude or a martyr attitude. And that is something that I don't have anything that I can do, because you refuse to go and get your porous boundaries checked with a good therapist to get healed from your own abandonment, rejection, and childhood wounds that are very clear to any, again, balanced feminine or masculine, because anyone who wants to tell somebody else, let me pull you here or there, obviously you're a Cusco. So again, thank you for stopping by. Have a lovely day, lovely new moon, and Lionsgate portal